As the General Assembly gears up for a dynamic short session, we're committed to unpacking the legislative developments and their implications for the Catawba County business community. You're watching the return of the weekly Advocacy at Work update from the Chamber of Catawba County. I'm Brian Francis, Advocacy Director, and it's April 29th, 2024. We've just begun what might be a short legislative short session, with the General Assembly having reconvened last week on April 24th. As we navigate through these next months of legislative activity, we'll continue to bring you weekly video updates. You give us 3 minutes and we'll give you a business perspective of the legislature. We'll dissect the bills, relate them to our legislative priorities, and bring you other insights from the work taking place in Raleigh. Now, many of you are already familiar with my colleague, Sarah Prencipe, from her work with me and the Chamber over the last year. She's been an instrumental part of our advocacy efforts, and she'll be joining us occasionally to share these updates. I've asked her to join me today for a quick preview of this year's session. Sarah, first, what are we hearing about the legislative priorities for this session?
Well, Brian, the big news that dropped about 10 days ago was around the budget. The main purpose of the short session is to make budget adjustments based on actual revenues and expenses. And we learned that the state has collected a lot more money than they expected.
Well, that sounds like good news, but it could complicate things, right?
Yes. Legislators are predicting that they will be out by the 4th of July, but having more money means the potential for longer negotiations as legislators have competing priorities on how to spend it. With it being an election year for the General Assembly, they will be motivated to get their work done and get home to campaign. And the longer they're there, the more potential there is for them to consider other issues as well. Thanks,
Sarah. Sarah and I will be following all of the legislation carefully, and regardless of which one of us is reporting to you, we'll bring you business-relevant updates each week, the kind of news you might not get from other news sources. Now, if you are not already subscribed for these updates, you can do so using the link that you'll find in your email. You can expect the quality and substance of our updates will remain consistent, whether they come from me or whether they come from Sarah. Until next time, I'm Brian Francis.
And I'm Sarah Prencipe, and this is Advocacy at Work from the Chamber of Catawba County.